have seen this mentioned a couple of different times, so I figured instead of just leaving it as a comment, let's go ahead and discuss it. There is a very big difference between works for show and works for sale. Works for show are usually going to be put on in some sort of exhibit by a museum, and the point of the exhibit is not to sell the works, it's to experience the art in the exhibit. Works selected for these kinds of exhibits are more than likely going to be narrative driven, and so the curators of the museum might be willing to go with pieces that have a little bit less stylistic consistency so long as they fit the narrative prompt of the exhibit. Works for sale are not there to be an experience in and of themselves. It turns the art into a product. Because the artwork is now a product, not an experience, checking to see that the artist has a consistent body of work counts as part of the quality control process. While it's not impossible for one artist to be good at multiple different styles, it is very, very difficult to master multiple different styles and techniques at the same time and have it all perfect all at once. And that's because different techniques require different skills from each different style that you might be looking into. I am good at illustrative realism. You know what I'm not good at? Anatomy. Now, it's perfectly possible that I could start learning anatomy, I could practice it and get way better at it and start drawing people and doing portraiture. But every single minute that I spend trying to perfect my anatomy skills, I am not improving myself with my illustrative realism. That's why it's usually recommended that you hone in on one subject, on one style, on one media. That way you can become a master in that one thing instead of getting incrementally good at multiple different things. Now, if you're someone who hears that and you think, wow, that sounds absolutely awful, really boring and not my style, that is perfectly fine. You can be someone who jumps around and explores multiple mediums and multiple subjects. But at that point, it all comes down to marketing. If you want to do portraiture, figurative work, anatomy drawings, and you also want to do stylized illustrative realism depicting nature, do that. Include them all in your portfolio. But market them as separate series or separate collections. If you're applying to shows, pick one or the other of those collections to apply to that show with. Don't apply with both mixed collections. That way it gives you the appearance of having a cohesive portfolio without you having to risk doing what you want to do. How you advertise and market your niche is also super important. Don't say you're an abstract artist if you also plan on including things in your portfolio that are realism. Don't say you're a charcoal figurative artist if you plan on doing figurative paintings in oil. I used to say that I was a gouache landscape painter, and that was it. But then I started painting wildlife and some woodland folklore related stuff. And I wasn't just using gouache, I was also using watercolors and paints that I made myself. So at that point, that niche alone didn't really fit and felt very restrictive. I no longer say that I am a gouache landscape painter. Instead, I say that I am a nature-based water media artist. Do I still paint landscapes and do I still use gouache? Absolutely, 75 to 90% of the time. But with a broader niche title, something like this that is not entirely gouache and is not a landscape still fits perfectly within my portfolio. And when you think about it, the great artists throughout history didn't just paint one thing ever with one medium. Picasso had his blue period, but he also had his cubist period. Monet is known for his water lilies, but he also painted tons of other things. Your interest in media, subjects, and style will change over your lifetime. Frankly, if your art doesn't change at all within a 15-year period, that's probably not a good thing. That probably means that your art is stagnating instead of improving. Please don't let having a consistent style bog you down and make you feel like you can't be successful as an artist. Because the fact of the matter is that you don't need a 100% never changing, never evolving style where you only paint one thing. Sometimes you just need to classify things as a collection or a series.